Easter means reflecting on the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ, then let's celebrate it every day.
Yeah.
Yes.
But all the, the convention, the marching, the palm trees, all those things are, for lack of better words, advertisements for Easter.
I think it's a time that we also be very intentional about we pushing an agenda for Christ, using everything that we have, our resources, everything, so that on that day we do something that would let the world know that, hey, this is about Christ. It is not about your other sins. It's really about Christ.
Let us not isolate ourselves from the people celebrating Easter because we don't believe in it or we think it is not biblical.
Hello, lovely viewers. Welcome to another episode of Between the Lines again. Here we are talking about reality. We are not hiding anything today. We are talking about Easter, a celebration where every year we have to remember the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. And I don't know how you celebrate yours, but for me, I sit at home and sleep. So today I'm here with Obed, I'm here with Kwesi, and I'm here with Pastor Apil for the discussion. You can join us, and don't forget to subscribe to our channels on YouTube, Hope Channel Ghana, Facebook, Hope Channel Ghana, and Instagram, Hope Channel Ghana. So we are going deep into this topic. I'd like to start with you, Obed. With the death and resurrection, reflecting over Easter all these years, these past years, do you think resurrection and the death of Christ, it strengthens our faith in this present times? Does it strengthen our faith, or we are losing it because of the celebrations we've attached to it?
Stricto sensu, if you are looking at the underlying principle, it should strengthen our faith. In fact, it is the foundation of the Christian faith. Because it is, Christ coming to die for us is the foundation of Christian faith. So that principle should be able to strengthen our faith. Unfortunately, like we said last week, we said in our earlier discussion, because of trends and because of modern practices, the focus have been shifted, but it is supposed to strengthen our Christian faith. So what I think we can do is that, as we said, we need to change the narrative. We need to bring people's attention to it. So I continue to strengthen our faith, because if you are a Christian and your faith is not strengthened, there is a question mark about your faith. And one of the things we have come to conclude that strengthens our faith is the belief that Christ came to die, and it was because of us he came to die.
Yeah.
You get my point?
Yeah. So, with this celebration thing, Chrissy, some churches, for me, when I was a child, I would see them with palm trees, walking on the streets, drumming, and it's nice to watch.
Yeah.
But of late, you realize that it has faded. Just a few still practice it.
Yeah, like we said at that time, it's a tradition, and traditions are not mandated like that. And for example, even in Ghana, me, when I was young in primary school, we used to do that during Easter. We'll go through the town, go, and then we'll come back. And I went to a government school. But you see, as the world develops, the world is becoming more and more secular. And for example, a lot of private schools have come. If I build my private school, I'm not mandated to put that practice in it. You get, and I may not even be a Christian. I may not believe in it like that. So things are changing because of more information. The Bible said in the last days, knowledge will abound. So people are, some of these practices, and people are also beginning to know that, it's not mandatory. In times past when knowledge was not so much abounding, a lot of these practices were done because it was passed over from generation to generation without an understanding.
Yeah.
But now that there's a lot more understanding, people are beginning to realize that it's not mandatory. I'm not saying that doing it is bad anyway. You see, when it comes to faith, anything that strengthens your faith, do it. Anything that, as long as it is, like I said the last time, the intent is right. So people do it because they are doing it in celebration of Easter, and it is strengthening their faith. And so they go around, they march around. There's nothing bad with that. It's just becoming, I would say maybe it's becoming more difficult to do these days, because now organizing some of these things, it will cost you more. You have to secure police escorts and all this. So, you know, the troubles in organizing it is increasing. And so a lot of people are just withdrawing from, you know, practicing it. But those who still do, I've seen, I think last year I saw some people do it. It's nice. There's nothing wrong with it.
Because I used to enjoy the
Me, my church, we don't do it, but when I see people do, because I did it in primary school, actually, we used to enjoy it.
It was actually fun. At least even if we are not partaking in it, you are watching them with the streets, the drums, the music.
It's so beautiful to watch. Yeah.
But wouldn't it? Because I think.
Yeah, you could go on.
Wouldn't it be okay if we revisit? I think we start to hit the message and revisit some of these things.
It depends on the message that
comes with it.
Yeah, you are trying to. There will be somebody who will just practice it without any understanding. Yeah, I remember in school, like I said, when we used to do it, we were being, you know, it would be, we'll go to assembly, a little sermon will be preached on, you know, the death and resurrection of Jesus. Then we go on there. So if the core message is on the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ, perfect. It can be, you know, done.
Yeah.
And so, Pastor, with I think the previous week, I had wanted to ask that if resurrection and the death of Jesus Christ, this whole Easter celebration, then we can use this method period to push the message so much out there.
Yeah.
Why not celebrate it maybe every day, or in a year it could be 3 times or 4 times, but we have to wait so another year before.
I mean, that's a good one. That it's almost like the Christmas question. Why do you have to wait for that period before you talk about that? No, you don't wait. You do it every time. But once there is a beautiful opportunity where there is a break in our usual way of doing things, there's a holiday and people tend to listen more, then why do you stop? The question is, why do you stop on that day? So that is a beautiful opportunity. You do it even the more there.
So if Easter means reflecting on the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ, then let's celebrate it every day.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, as a Christian,
let's celebrate every day.
As a Christian, what's the point if you are not reflecting on it? It is what makes you a Christian, the death and the resurrection of Jesus Christ. I just think that Easter is just a time to hype it.
Yeah.
You know, it's a time to hype all the activities. I'm not talking about the worldly ones, but all the, you know, the convention, the marching, the palm trees, all those things are, for lack of better words, advertisements for Easter. So, for example, I'm sitting somewhere, I see the people marching. Oh, what is that? Then you ask questions. Oh, they are celebrating. What is Easter? Oh, birthday. You see, it can even lead to somebody's conversion.
Yeah.
You get it? So I think that all these things is advertising. And it's not just as if, wait and let Easter come before you celebrate it. No. I think every day is a day to celebrate. Like we celebrate life every day, but maybe on that day that you were born, you say, oh, today is my birthday. I want to, but you celebrate life every day.
And those who don't actually reflect on the death and resurrection of Christ are those who
go
on Easter are at the beach.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they are joining because of the
they don't even know the purpose.
The purpose of it. Yeah.
But for us who know, we don't do that. We do something different. Yeah.
You are still watching Between the Lines. If you haven't subscribed to our channel and follow us for more episodes every week. So back to our studio. I know social media is causing us a great harm in our generation. In my generation, because we call it the Gen Z world. But then, Obed, do you think it has had a very great negative impact on Easter or the death and resurrection?
You see, for me, I don't remember the last time joined the trend during Easter. I don't know, but I don't remember. But I think that if there is any period that we can make people understand the real motive, as we are saying here, behind Easter, it is now, because now we have social media. Those who go to the beach, they will go and post it. Those who go to Ko, they will go and post it. But can you also imagine when we are also posting at the same time, letting them know that this is the motive behind Easter, where we are all posting? Social media should help us drum home this celebration the more, to bring people's idea to it, like the way Jesus trended. Can you imagine where Easter also will trend, even maybe days before the celebration, where the trend is letting us know the reason for Easter? For all you know, somebody who has decided to go to beach on Monday will change that day, and he might not go to the beach. You get it? And so I believe that social media should rather help us to drum home this particular discussions we are having in the studio now.
I totally agree with what my brother said. You know, in Romans chapter 8, he says that creation is groaning and waiting for the manifestation of the sons of man. If we, that creation is waiting for us to manifest, we sit back and say, oh, they've perverted it, we are not changing anything. You get it? Yes, there is that negative aspect. And anytime it comes to social media, I keep saying that you always find the positive and the negative. Yes, because of social media now, we see more. We hear more. And a lot of the bad things that hitherto we wouldn't have seen. Now we are seeing it. Because in the times when there was no social media, even if it is happening, you don't know it's happening. So you are a bit, safe and guided. But now, the moment you go there, you are seeing all sorts of things happening. And now also, we have, people who are doing teachings and sermons, and they're also putting it on social media. So I feel like, yes, in as much as there is the negative that is happening, which is, watering down the purpose of Easter, because obviously the worldly people, they have money to spend on advertisement. You hear it everywhere. Easter is now synonymous to Kwewu in Ghana. You get, because they have advertised it so much. Branding. Imagine if we also put so much money in advertising something that was maybe Jesus, Jesus. You get it? And we were able to hype it to the extent that now Easter is synonymous to Jesus. You get it? It's a matter of willpower. If we come together and we say we are pushing this agenda as Christians, want to push this agenda on social media, I believe we can. I strongly believe we can.
We can. Yeah, I think it's possible. Social media is a very powerful tool. And unfortunately, if you take a critical look at it, you realize that it is rather affecting the idea more. It is basically making us something that we just post about, nothing that really transforms us. And so, just as my brother said, I think it's time that we also be very intentional about we pushing an agenda for Christ, using everything that we have, our resources, everything, so that on that day we do something that would let the world know that, hey, this is about Christ. It is not about your other things. It's really about Christ. Whether it is this or that, it's about Jesus Christ. And I believe, and I keep saying that, look, anything that's about Christ is worth spending time or pushing. Anything is about Christ. Once the motive is about Christ, it is important that we do it. But we must also be very careful Okay. You must also be careful in the sense that you were talking about this palm branch and all of that. These were things that, people keep adding. People keep adding. And sometimes, even in the name of trying to project Jesus Christ, you must be careful that we are not projecting the wrong Christ.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What is his principle? What has he told us to do? Like I was driving, I think it was last year or 2 years, I think I was driving somewhere around the Easter to Kumasi, and along the way I saw a group of people. They had gathered. I didn't know what was that. They were all in red.
Hey.
I think it was on Friday. They were all in red. And I was like, hey, what kind of funeral is this? Then one person was driving, said, no, it's not a funeral. They are going to bury Jesus Christ or something. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
And we came back on the Sunday. And I don't know whether God wanted us to say. So past that simply on Sunday afternoon, they were in white. And lots of them, and they were carrying a cross. And so we actually parked somewhere to observe a little bit. I don't want to mention the name of the church, but if you know, you know. This was actually a church. So they buried Jesus on Friday. They were mimicking the story. Friday he died, Sunday he resurrected. So Friday we're in red, Sunday they're white. And these are things that, are kind of weird. We shouldn't go to that extreme. But let's send the message. Let's send the essence. What does the symbol represent? That's always important. We don't need to go to the extent of doing everything graphically to show that this. No, that's not important. Let's rather preach the message. Yeah,
absolutely.
So I would like us to give our final bits on the whole topic and then say bye-bye. So I'll start with you.
Yeah, so I think my final word will be that let us not isolate ourselves from the people celebrating Easter because we don't believe in it or we think it is not biblical. Mm-hmm. We should use the period to let people know about who died and why he died and what that death need to do for us as Christians. I think that should be our motive.
Yeah. Starting from where he ended, I believe that as Christians, our mandate is to push the agenda of Christ, and whether you believe in celebrating Easter or not, the motive is the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ, and that should be the underlying factor. Anything aside that is just mere gimmicks, and that should be the center of the message. And I want to just end with a scripture, Romans chapter 6 from the verse 5 to 8. It says that since we have been united with him in his death, we will also be raised to life as he was. We know that our old sinful selves, I'm reading the NLT, we know our old sinful selves are crucified with Christ so that sin might lose its power in our lives. We are no longer slaves to sin. For when we died with Christ, we were set free from the power of sin. And since we died with Christ, we know we also live with him. Easter is to celebrate that Christ is alive. He is no longer in the tomb. Yeah. And so, if we have this understanding that, yes, he came, he died, he resurrected, and he's alive, and that is what gives us the life that we have to be called Christians, I believe that we will be fine if we get this understanding. Yeah.
So, what I want to add is that, yes, Easter represents that Christ came, he died, he resurrected. That is beautiful. I just want to say that, look, as Christians living in this time, people are looking for genuine and authentic Christians. If we believe that Christ died, what really shows? It is not necessarily about even what we are celebrating. It's about how we are living our lives. So I just want to say, let us move from ritualistic Christians where we have to do this, do that, to fruit-bearing Christians. Because look, in this secular world, the only thing people want is to see fruit. Are you bearing the fruits? What really shows that you are a Christian? It's not about anything you celebrated. It's about how you live in your life. And if we're able to do that, on the day of Easter, people would genuinely listen to every message that we preach. Thank you very much.
With what Pastor said, how you live your life, I believe your life can be a message to somebody out there about how you even celebrate Easter or what you think about the resurrection and the death of Christ. Whether you are out and you are staying home, how you live your life is what matters. This has been Between the Lines. Catch you again on another episode. But don't forget to subscribe. Hope Channel Ghana, YouTube, and Hope Channel Ghana Facebook. Bye bye.